Good evening and welcome. We will have our student board member, Naomi Ortiz, Lakewood High School, lead us in the pledge.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Naomi. We welcome those who are here for purposes of addressing the board at the proper time and in the order of their request. For those who have not already submitted a request, we have provided forms in the back of the room and also have additional copies here in front at the Assistant Secretary's position. If you wish to speak during the meeting, please fill out a form indicating your name and the agenda item that you wish to address. You may also make a request to give testimony on an item not listed for discussion today. However, full discussion on any items not listed on the agenda will have to be delayed until such time as the item can be publicly posted in advance as a regular agenda item. If you wish to ask questions, please address them to the chair and not to individual members of the board or to the staff. The board has been meeting in closed session regarding matters listed on today's closed session agenda and wishes to report that no reportable actions were taken. Public hearing, there is none. Call for agenda items for separate action. Adoption of the agenda is posted.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion is approved unanimously. Approval of minutes?
Move approval.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. We are now at communications, and it's a great honor to call up Dr. Pamela Levitz for our Gates teacher recognition.
Hello, good evening, President Williams, board members, executive staff, district colleagues, and community. Tonight we're here to recognize and celebrate the very hard work and collaborative spirit of our teachers who've completed the criteria to obtain Long Beach Unified School District's GATE certification. The LBUSD GATE certificate is aligned to the California Department of Education's recommended standards for programs for gifted students, which emphasizes differentiation for advanced learners through depth, complexity, acceleration, novelty, along with social and emotional supports. To develop proficiency in these areas and obtain GATE certification, these teachers have participated in 45 hours of professional development focused on meeting the academic and affective needs of advanced students. They've participated in a cohort experience where they've actually met with lead master teachers from our GATE program from across the district so they could learn how they have implemented our strategies in their classroom for their diverse learner populations. And lastly, what you see in front of you, they had to develop a series of lessons that highlight their ability to apply what they've actually learned to differentiate the grade level content. Before we award our certificates, we're actually going to hear from 3 of these teachers, share about their learning and the impact on their classroom practice. First, we'll hear from Brenda Martinez Alagüe, and she's from Stevens Middle School. We'll also hear from Nakia Lee, and she's from Jefferson Leadership Academies. And last but not least, of course, we've got Amelia Garib, and she's our GATE coordinator at Bancroft Middle School. So we'll hear from them first before we hand out our certificates. Brenda.
Good evening. The GATE certification process has been a great learning experience. It has taught us to differentiate our instruction for the students in our classroom who understand the concepts being taught quickly and easily. For these students, we are now able to dig deeper into the content with the depth and complexity prompts and questions. With the depth and complexity questioning, we are able to put a spotlight on the universal concepts and big ideas that we want our students to glean from their learning. Furthermore, we are able to expand the learning beyond the classroom into the real world as we apply these universal concepts and big ideas that we explore into the realms of dance, conservation, fitness, and interpersonal knowledge, to name just a few intelligence modalities. As GATE certified teachers, we are introducing our students to works of art, music, and the ideas of philosophers and historians to which our students may not regularly be exposed. And finally, our learning is a continuous process as we continue to take GATE classes through the district and we continue to empower our students with metacognition. As we teach them the steps of our GATE lessons, we will also be teaching them the scholarly skill of learning how to learn. Thank you.
Good evening to you all. I'm a bit under the weather, so forgive the voice and the potential coughing, but I could not miss this night. The road to GATE certification has indeed been a long one, from weekly meetings at 4:15 p.m., which we all know is the peak hour of all teachers' energy levels, to having to design lessons. This road has been challenging. However, it has been a road paved with invaluable experience. One of the missions of this program is to cultivate teachers who can and will support able and advanced learners with appropriate strategies. Under the tutelage of Pam and Gina, teachers leave with an understanding that differentiation for smart kids is not faster, harder, or more, but ultimately it is responsive teaching. It involves teachers modifying what students will know, how they will think, how they will access and use their resources, and how they will demonstrate what they have come to know, understand, and be able to do based on student readiness, interest, and learning profile. As a result of LBUSD GATE PD, my teaching has forever been impacted. I'm currently in my 5th year, and I have seen my development over time, and I know I will continue to improve because of the wealth of knowledge that I've gleaned from this experience. Approaches such as universal concepts, big ideas, inductive reasoning, and group investigation have totally transformed my instruction. With universal concepts, my students are able to understand and witness the transferability of universal themes and find connections among seemingly unrelated ideas. With deductive reasoning, I am able to provide my students with opportunities to prove or disprove generalizations. Here, the aspect of substantiating evidence is crucial, an integral skill also needed for college and career readiness. As someone who teaches all students on the ability spectrum, one of the most impactful additions to my teaching has been the implementation of depth and complexity and content imperative thinking prompts. To the untrained eye, these thinking prompts are nothing more than nice, colorful images that decorate my classroom. However, these visual prompts serve a wealth of purpose, which I am able to witness daily when students are able to articulate big ideas of literary and informational texts, including theme and central idea, or when students understand the importance of proof and rationale when supporting conclusions drawn from the text. I see the payoff of these thinking prompts when students understand the rules of explanatory essay compositions and execute them successfully, or when they are able to articulate the process of narratives and create their own stories filled with descriptive details that follow the sequence. In my classroom, thinking prompts are synonymous with annotating. Through the use of thinking prompts, students are able to deepen their understanding of text as they read and comprehend literary and informational texts independently and proficiently. Earlier, I mentioned responsive teaching. As educators of gifted and talented students, it is important to remember their academic abilities are only one part of who they are. We are teaching different students who come from diverse backgrounds. LBUSD GATE PD makes sure teachers are aware of this reality and reflect diversity in their teaching practices by exposing candidates to Banks's multiculturalism's 5 dimensions. For some teachers, the information is eye-opening, and for some teachers like myself, Banks's dimensions affirm what we already do in the classroom. It affirms the need for culturally responsive classrooms and the importance for students to see the faces that look like their own, as well as exposure to different perspectives in the curriculum they engage with. Mirrors and windows, as Pam would put it. In my instruction, I make it a point to provide equitable pedagogical experiences for students. I am aware of how my own biases can impact knowledge construction and how hidden curriculum empowers students. Lastly, I am aware of the importance of prejudice reduction in helping students develop more racially positive attitudes. Banks's 5 dimensions and so many other aspects of LBUSD GATE PD are why I and so many others are better teachers. Thank you, Pam and Gina, for your instruction. Thank you, members of the cohort, for your support. And thank you, LBUSD, for providing teachers with opportunities for professional development.
Hey, good evening, members of our school board, our district leaders, our esteemed colleagues, and our community guest members. I am very proud to be accepting this certification tonight. I've been teaching in Long Beach for 19 years, and there's been a few things that have changed since I first got that set of room keys. The kids have changed a little, the technology has changed a lot, and many of the teaching approaches once considered our best practices have been replaced by even better practices. Our time moves forward, and so does our profession. But what hasn't changed much is our kids' potential to achieve amazing things when they are truly engaged in their own learning process. The instructional and curricular approaches this certification program has taught me are some of the most powerful teaching tools I've come across. Being able to see these approaches come to life in real teachers' classrooms with real students was very beneficial. And working with this awesome cohort team, I was able to collaborate on several lessons, utilizing the best tools of the trade that we have, which is the experts in the room with us. Some of these approaches are printed out in my portfolio that you have in front of you, and many more get put to work every day in my 8th grade classroom at Bancroft. When I accepted this position, I committed to completing this certification process because I wanted to give my students who are identified as gifted the best education I possibly could. And what happened was I discovered that these strategies will enable me to give every student that same exceptional experience, whether they are sitting in my accelerated section or not. Deductive reasoning, critical and creative thinking, depth and complexity prompts, all of these methods we learned are just plain great teaching. They're inclusive, they're engaging, they create points of access, they encourage us to re-examine what it means to teach from a multicultural perspective, and they prompt us to evaluate those windows and mirrors that we present to our students in each of our classrooms. It's been so valuable to have worked alongside such amazing teachers, and I want to especially thank Pam for her great patience and support, because I am certainly a better teacher because of this program. Thank you.
As you can tell from a few of the personalities, we had a lot of fun together from 4:15 to 6:15 through the week. Thank you so much, Amelia, Nakia, and Brenda. It is such an honor to work with teachers who are so open, reflective in their practice, and just so willing to give to each other. So that's why I think this model works with not just coming to PD, but meeting together to really develop these lessons and refine these lessons. We work better together. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and award them their certificates. I'm going to start with Brenda Martinez Alegwe. Nakia Brianna Lee. Amelia Garib. Dr. Deborah Bober. Megan Rauerdink. Daniel Dunbar. Shannon Weeks. And we also had Rocio Rodriguez, but of course her child's in a Christmas play tonight, so she is there and not here. Thank you very much. So again, I just wanted to recognize we couldn't provide this opportunity without the support of our lead gate teachers from across the district who open up their classrooms. They run the cohort meetings and provide professional development, showcase how they implement these strategies in their classrooms with their learners from across the district, and feed us too, so that's always good. They provided resources to these teachers, sample lessons, and a few of them also made themselves available throughout the year for folks who needed to revisit and just ask questions. So I wanted to thank those GATE cohort leads from last year, and they're Julianne Helsley, third grade GATE at Willard, Tiffany Martin, seventh grade GATE, ELA at Jefferson, Melissa Ham, third grade GATE at Cubberly, Dr. Heather Mills, fifth grade GATE, also at Cubberly, Carolyn Moscato, seventh grade ELA GATE at Cubberly, Linda Patton, first grade PALS at Prisk, Jolene Fournier Arredondo, second grade PALS at Prisk, and also for science support, Gerlin Montiel, OCIP induction coach. I'd also like to thank just all of my colleagues in OCIPD because as you can see, we're working with teachers who work at different grade levels and also across subjects, so their doors are always open to us when we need assistance and support. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
Dr. Levis, I'm just recalling when we had that conversation many years ago about you getting your doctorate. Congratulations. And congratulations to all of our GATE teachers for the wonderful achievement and what that will add to our district and to our students. And I know at this point you may want to go out and celebrate, or you can stay with us for a board meeting, so you can choose. But again, congratulations to each and every one of you. Okay, our independent audit report, Yumi?
A very successful audit season, and I'm happy to introduce Gemma Tashinsky from Clifton, Larson, and Allen to discuss the audit results.
Thank you, Ms. Takahashi. Members of the board, administration, thank you for having me here this evening to go through the results of the financial and compliance audit with you this evening. We were engaged to perform the 2018-19 audits of the district's financial statements, compliance, as well as performance audit of Measure K and Measure E, so I'll be talking about those this evening. The audit, the performance or the bond audits will also be presented to the COC tomorrow evening at their meeting. So the audit process begins, it's a year-long process. It begins at the beginning of the year, and it starts off with an audit conference with management and with your audit committee, your subcommittee, and so we appreciate those individuals for meeting with us. And so we always want to make sure that we set our scope and expectations and maintain our independence throughout the process. At the conclusion of the audit, we also meet with, of course, management. We're working with management throughout the whole process, but also with your subcommittee. We met earlier today with your subcommittee. And just to clarify, our responsibilities. So our responsibilities to show our opinion, and then management is responsible for the fair presentation of the financial statements, and we work very closely with them in order to produce the report that you have this evening. So in terms of providing our opinion, we look at evidence, we look at internal controls, we look at risk assessment, we look at transactions, and that's what allows us to issue our opinion. Also, we do a test of compliance. So the state provides a guide each year of compliance areas that we need to look at. The primary one, of course, is attendance. So we spend quite a bit of time there. And then also for your federal funding, we do look at federal programs. Those are on a rotational basis. And so every year we look at different programs. So we've issued an unmodified opinion on your financial statements. That's the best opinion we can render. It means a reader of the financial statements can rely on the information in making decisions. So that is always a wonderful thing. We love to be able to do that. There were no significant changes to accounting standards this year, so the reporting was very similar to the prior year. Nothing new to report in that regard. When you do look at the financial statements, you'll see significant liabilities related to pension and to other post-employment benefits. A couple of years ago, those liabilities started to be measured and reported on the full financial statements, the government-wide financial statements. And so we are looking at that, making sure that assumptions are appropriate. We rely on the actuarial valuations from STRS and PERS and from your OPEB actuary in order to derive, to ensure those numbers are accurately reported. It does create a very negative net position on all school districts' financial statements. So when you look at the statement of net position, you'll see a negative unrestricted balance, but that's because of those liabilities. And you're in the same situation as every other school district in the state. So nothing to be alarmed about. What's important, of course, is making sure that you're meeting your reserve requirements, and we do look at that, and you guys have very healthy reserves. So let's see, what else do we want to say? We've looked at that. There were no audit adjustments. So again, a credit to your fiscal department, ensuring that they're closing the books appropriately, recording for things throughout the year appropriately as well. We had no findings. So we look at internal control. We look to ensure that in those key areas, receipting, disbursements, payroll, that everything's in order and that you have good segregation of duties, and so we can rely on that. So we had no findings. In terms of state programs, on page 81 of the report, there's a nice list of all the programs that the state requires that we look at. Some don't apply to you. Many of them do, but there were no state findings. And again, the key area is that attendance. We spend quite a bit of time visiting the sites, looking at the attendance process. And then in terms of federal programs, this year we audited special ed, Head Start and Title II, and again, we look at compliance and we look at internal control in those areas, and we had no findings. So good job on fiscal, good job on your program side, because part of our audit is compliance related to program, how the program's operating, not just if the expenditures are appropriate. So good job in all those areas. So that's it on the financial and compliance audit. In terms of the bond audits, we've issued an unmodified opinion on both Measure K and Measure E's financial statements. Nothing significant to report in those reports. There were no internal control findings as part of the performance audit. We tested about 76% of total expenditures within those two different bond measures. And again, we're looking at transactions. We're making sure that the expenditures are appropriate based on what the voters have approved, and we had no issues of noncompliance to report. So again, a very clean audit. I want to go ahead and publicly thank everybody who was part of the process. We work with a lot of people throughout the year. So in fiscal, Yumi, her team, Susan Ginder, Renee Arcus, Jennifer Gear, and then on facility side, in particular, Ellen, Sarah Slater, their teams. We make them pull a lot of documents. It's a lot of work. But also the sites, ASB, attendance, the folks that run the programs. So we appreciate everybody's cooperation. Everybody is very cooperative. So I am happy to take any questions about the reports or the results.
So bottom line is we will meet our financial obligations in terms of our projections.
Well, we don't look at your projections, so we're not doing an audit of projections, but we are looking at your reserve, and you have nice, healthy reserves. So, so good job on your accounting, so you can rely on your accounting systems.
My question is really a broader question. It's, given the status of other school districts, if there were any irregularities or inconsistencies, in what areas would you sort of be looking at? What areas would you be finding them in that would then impact the certification or the ability to
So if
qualify?
Sure. So if there were scope limitations, if we didn't have appropriate access to information, so if you had significant audit adjustments, material adjustments where, again, management's not closing their books properly, so we would be concerned about the internal control and the closing process. You know, on the compliance side, we have a lot of districts that struggle with unduplicated count. And so that's something to kind of watch. There's a lot of timing rules in terms of when you have to update data and what matches with your, you know, your NSLP versus your English language learners. So that tends to be probably our most popular finding currently is that particular area. And then on the program side, the federal side, just procurement procedures, suspension, debarment, those seems to be the areas where most districts struggle, making sure they're following the federal rules for going out to bid or getting their quotes on contracts and services for federal programs. So you guys doing a great job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
again. Enjoy your evening.
Public testimony. Public testimony.
Okay,
Number 19.
okay. I have no public testimony on items listed on the agenda. I have no request. Okay. Staff report, there's none. Public testimony on items not listed on the agenda, I have no request. Move right into business items. Personnel, Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. I present the following proposed actions prepared by the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resource Services, approved and recommended by the Superintendent. Appointment 78, leaves of absence 7, abandonment of position 2, resignations 5, retirements 3, amendments 1, rescissions 1. Certificated personnel appointments 21, in-service changes 9, retirements 2, amendments 1, and I move approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Board authorizations,
Move approval.
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Coaching assignments,
Move approval.
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Instruction,
Move to approve.
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Finance Report A.
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Finance Report B.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I recuse myself from Finance Report B. I have a potential financial interest per Government Code 109.1 and 87.100. My husband works for a company that has done work for the payees.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved 4-0 with one abstention. Okay. Business Department report.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Purchasing and contract report.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out number 2 on that report. It is the second part of our contract with the Long Beach Fire Department Junior Lifeguard Summer Program. So we're going to be continuing that program that was successful last year and hopefully even more robust this year.
Thank you so much. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Other items, superintendent's items? None, okay. Unfinished business, there is none. New business, reappointment of Personnel Commissioner. Ken?
Thank you very much. Good evening, President Williams, members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Steinhauser, and members of the executive staff. Tonight before you is a recommendation for the renewal of one of our personnel commissioners, Linda Vaughn. She's been a part of our 3-member commission since March of 2011. She's been an excellent leader for our commission and is currently the vice chairperson. Her background includes a 43-year career as a classified employee for the Linwood Unified School District, where she retired as the secretary to the principal of Linwood High School. She has also been the CSEA Union Chapter President at Linwood and is currently the chairperson of the CSEA Merit System Committee, which is an internal organization within CSEA. Ms. Vaughn is here, so if there's any questions that you would like to ask, she can answer them for you. So.
Well,
Good evening.
First and foremost, let's vote on it, then we can ask if she has any comments. We'll make sure she gets voted in here first. All right.
I move approval.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion?
Just a question. I couldn't find, is the term a 4-year term? 3-year term? Okay, so this is the end of her third year term? Okay.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Congratulations, Linda. Now you can speak.
Well, I'd like to thank the board, the superintendent, and the staff for allowing me to continue as the personnel commissioner. I have enjoyed working with to protect the classified employees' rights. And within protecting their rights, we make sure that the students are protected and that they have the best staff possible to serve them in all the areas that the classified staff do. And with that, I thank you again for reappointing me, and I wish all of you a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Linda, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for your service, Linda.
Thank you. First interim financial report, 2019-2020. Yumi?
The first interim financial report is really our first look at revenues and expenditures for this year. We are recommending a positive certification, meaning that we can meet our financial obligations this year and in the 2 subsequent years. Some changes of note in our budget is the inclusion of the compensation increase for CSEA, as well as the retroactive compensation increase going back to 2018-19 and the 1% off-schedule compensation increase. We've also included a reduction in the supplemental and concentration grants resulting from a reduction in the unduplicated count percentage from 70% to 67.2. We hope this is a one-time occurrence, and next year we'll redouble our efforts in terms of identifying all eligible students, because this funding supports the programs in our LCAP. And also we've included one-time special education funding of approximately $5.8 million. This all nets to a reduction in our projected ending balance of $7 million from $241 million to $234 million, which we still consider to be extremely healthy ending balance. And in looking at our out years, of significance is a reduction in the projected cost of living adjustment from 3% to 1.79%. This would result in deficit spending of approximately $20 million, and this deficit builds as we project further out if this materializes. So we anxiously await the governor's budget in the second week of January to see if there will be any additional funding beyond the COLA provided to school districts, but and what the out-year projections for the cost of living adjustments will be. So we will be back at second interim with the inclusion of all the information from the governor's budget.
Thank you, Yumi. Get a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, thank you, Yumi, for the summary. Mr. Superintendent, I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit to the importance of those students that qualify for free and reduced lunch, And so we have, although it's, it may seem like 3% is not a significant decrease, given that there are many of our funds we don't have any direct control over. This is one that if we have an accurate count regarding our students that families and students that qualify for free and reduced lunch, can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure. And you heard our auditor talk about that many districts have findings in that count because it's a pretty complicated count. So any student that qualifies for free and reduced lunch is also included into what's called the local control funding formula. We get extra resources for students, and then you get supplemental and concentration funds for the number of students who are above 55%. So in our district, that was 15% of our student population. That equates to millions and millions of dollars. So when you lose 2.8%, you're talking probably between $10 and $20 million, depending on the number of students. And the issue is huge because students are qualified in many ways. Well, there's a program called DCERT, which means the county certifies those students who are on welfare, food stamps, and so on. So this year, we had our largest decrease in the number of students who were automatically qualified by the County of LA. It was actually larger than our decrease in our overall enrollment decline. And you're not allowed to argue those numbers. So if you have an increase or a decrease. So as Yumi has stated, we're going to put a full press on doing what's called alternate certification, because you're allowed to do that, and we have done that and done it well. But we do know that there's massive changing of demographics in our system. So for example, if you look in the downtown area with a massive rebuild of downtown, we're losing huge numbers of students because new developments are going up. They're very expensive. The cost of living in our community is skyrocketing. Just on my own personal street, a house went up for rent $3,200 for a 3-bedroom home. This house is not a fancy house by any means. And so that's a lot of money for a family to have to pay. In some of our most depressed communities, it's not uncommon to have rent for $1,500 for a 1-bedroom. So we are going to do a full press because we don't know if this new 67.2 is the new norm, or is it 68, or is it 68 and a half. So I do want to commend the level offices and the business department because we have a great plan of action. But it's almost like the census count. It is absolutely critical that every student return their lunch application, the alternate form if it needs to be, and that we have to do everything, all 10,000 of the employees, to ensure, because it's millions and millions of dollars. And this year, as you know, it's a slighter loss because it's this year. But if it continues, it will be a huge impact on the school system.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. And I think, to your point, at this point in our history, every single dollar that goes to public education matters. And this example is, again, feeding our children here. So there's no ands, ifs, or buts. If we want to talk about policies or what have you, this is to assure that we have an accurate count so that we can feed, just a primary responsibility, our students in the district. So I thank you for elaborating on that.
I think the point, and to take that the step farther, is it when we have community meetings and parent meetings over and over again asking parents what to do with our LCAP and what to do with our local control funding, this is those dollars. So that reduction comes from those programs that our community members and our families and our parents talk about wanting to continue or add new. And so as those numbers decline and those dollars decline, the ability to continue or add program goes away in some cases. So that's why, that's kind of the on-the-ground rubber hits the road of why these numbers matter.
And that's absolutely correct. So this year, based on our decline, we will still be soliciting input from our parents, just like we do every single year, and keeping a long list, a wish list, because things change over the year from year to year. But I'm going to be really honest with you, we will not be adding any new positions because our hope and prayer is that we get to keep everything that we have so far, because if we were to add anything, we'd have to redirect, because based on the numbers that we have right now, there aren't going to be any new resources available to add new programs. Now, having said that, we will continue to solicit because, for example, let's say that the numbers come in at 68.5. Well, that's an increase from this year, and then we would take those recommendations, and you as a board would vote on which ones would be implemented. So we will always solicit input. We will always do our continuous improvement efforts, but being honest and transparent as we always are, there will be no new programs implemented this year. If we do anything new, it means that we have to take from Peter to pay Paul, and that's just the honest truth.
And I'm sorry if I missed it, but was there a dollar amount, maybe, I don't know, Yumi or Mr. Superintendent, the difference between the 70 and the 67.2?
For
Did you
this
mention the
year,
dollar
yeah,
amount?
for this year, it's about approximately 4 million. For next year, it'll be approximately 10 million.
So, comment to all of our community members. How important it is to stay engaged with us, but also to stay engaged in terms of where much of our funding comes from and what it's based on. That we have control over these recommendations, but we also have control over assuring that we have sufficient funding for us to provide the highest quality public education possible to our students.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion is approved unanimously. Approval of architectural and engineering firms.
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved unanimously. Report of our board members, and we will start with our student board member, Naomi.
Hi. Okay, so Lakewood's having a very exciting time this year. We're in our last year, hopefully, of construction, so there's a lot of moving parts. After this winter break, all of our teachers are going back to their rooms, so that's great. And then last week we finished our holiday concerts, so we had our madrigals and the band and all of the choruses. Today at lunch we had pictures with Santa, so that's a favorite every year. And our winter formal is coming up in January. And then we're just preparing for finals and hoping to finish with a good first semester. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That was short and brief. So we always ask a few questions of our student board members. Are you a senior?
Yeah. I'm a
Okay,
senior.
and you've made college plans, have you?
Mhm.
Have you
Yes.
decided on where you're
Yes.
going?
Well, I applied to 2 UCs and 2 Cal States. Yeah. So UC Irvine, UCLA, Cal State Long Beach, and Cal State Fullerton.
Okay, and have you decided on a major, or?
I'm applying into the biomedical field, so
Okay.
biochemistry.
Well, thank you so much, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's start on this end this time with Diana.
Okay. I'd also like to mention that we have the activities director for Lakewood High School here, Moore, and he's in the back. I don't know if we want to. So thank you for coming and supporting Naomi. I'm going to leave it to my fellow board members, somebody to mention Project Harmony. I don't know if that was on your radar, but okay, great. So I can focus on the 9th annual pageant, the winter pageant at Buffum, and I don't want to take too long because it's the last board meeting of the year and I don't want grief. So this morning I attended the pageant at Buffum with our little TLC cuties and our Head Start kiddos, and there were songs being performed, everything from My Little Dreidel to Jingle Hands, and yes, I said Jingle Hands. We're familiar with the Jingle Bells thing, but these kids had jingle bells on their hands and their ankles, and they did a bunch of, jumping and moving around, and it was perfect, especially for kids that have a lot of energy. So that was very delightful. And then also I learned that this year Buffum is starting a new program. They opened up their enrollment to any family interested in a preschool opportunity for the kids to become a typical peer and in classrooms with the other preschool kids, everybody together, inclusivity, all that good stuff. So that's happening for the first time at Buffum this year, so that's great. And then I just want to finish my report by saying thank you to all of our wonderful staff and everybody for their presentations. Yesterday, we had a workshop here, and there was enough good news going around to last us a while, but don't rest on your laurels. We still expect more. And then just, a big thank you to everybody and everything that's going on. We heard from a few teachers today, and there are so many people that are dedicated to our kids, dedicated to what they do, and I just want to express my appreciation and happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you, Diane. Mr. Meyer.
I'll defer my report, but I would like to wish a happy holiday to our staff, to our greater educational community for what a great first half of the school year. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John. Dr. Benitez.
Yes, concur. Happy holidays to everyone. Have a safe and blessed holiday season to all. Just 2 items to report on. One, board member Craig had alluded to. We had a wonderful Harmony Project Gala last Wednesday. At the core, empowering students and families through music. What can I say? Bigger, better, greater. The Pacific Room at the Long Beach Arena was beautiful, but what made it beautiful were the students and families, right, that are empowered through our music program. So just kudos to all the staff, teachers, volunteers, community members that make this project and event possible. And I was just very fortunate to be at my second Harmony Project Gala as a school board member. And my second item, I just lost my train of thought.
That's why I write everything down.
Yeah. Ethnic Studies celebration. It's 50th anniversary of Ethnic Studies in California, and our Ethnic Studies initiative took part 2 Saturdays ago at an all high school student conference at Cal State Long Beach. I'm proud to say that 250 of our LBUSD students are taking currently ethnic studies courses for college credit. So it was, I think Chris Barunda said it best, it was proud to be in an auditorium, a proud moment to be in an auditorium at Cal State Long Beach, one of our big lecture halls, and for the majority of the students in there to be LBUSD students. So I look forward to that being a requirement for our high schools and colleges here in California. So again, kudos to everyone that makes that Ethnic Studies Initiative partnership with the CSU possible.
Thank you, Dr. Benitez. Mrs. Kerr.
Yes. Just a couple of quick things. I want to thank Cindy Young and for organizing as a viewing of Won't You Be My Neighbor, the Mr. Rogers movie, for our CDC staff and partners. It was an uplifting night to be together and always fun to see folks off campus and off site for fellowship. So thanks to Cindy for putting on a great event. I just want to thank our students. If you're on any of the social media platforms, and you follow the Proud to Be LBUSD hashtag, you'll see that our students from several schools, many schools, most of our schools, almost all of our schools, have participated in some community engagement activity around generosity and giving to others, and giving to each other as peers at their school, whether it's with supplies or toys from the hackathon that happened for our special education students. I know they're delivering toys this week. It's really uplifting, again, to see the work that our kids are doing for each other and for the community. And great news today for 3 of our schools.
I thought you were going to forget.
I write them down. I've learned after this much time, if I don't write them down, I will lose them. That we have 3 California Distinguished Schools. So congratulations to Lafayette, Twain, and Alvarado schools today for their honor as California Distinguished Schools. That's what I got.
Thank you so much. Just a few items. We participated in the Long Beach College mock interviews at Poly Pal, and great experience to work with the students. And Ruth Ashley was there, as well as a number of the Leadership Long Beach alumni to interview the kids. And they were very excited about the opportunity to come in and engage in mock interviews to develop those skills for the real interview process. So it was a very, very fun time for us to be sitting with those kids. Last night, we had a chance to meet with the Isabel Patterson Scholarship recipients at a reception at the home of Dr. Conley, president of Cal State Long Beach. Chris was there, Brent, David, Steve, but we did have a chance to hear from the kids and get a chance to get a sense of what this program is trying to do. And in terms of a little background, how we got there is efforts to try to recruit individuals who we felt were needed in certain grade levels, and our staff did a very, very good job of going out and moving and through a number of the school districts nationally, trying to find students with the backgrounds that we were underrepresented in this district, and they weren't there. And as we look at some of the research and information about the decline in the number of African American males who are going into teaching, is at one point in the history of this nation, that was one of the few areas that they can get into economically with upward mobility. And as other opportunities have opened up that pay more, the students have branched off in some of these other areas. So even with some of the historically black colleges, we're not seeing a lot of kids who are migrating into teacher education programs. Hence the reason why we have the partnership with Cal State Long Beach to grow our own. And this 7 that that have come through the program thus far represent that initial cohort of students that we are developing as a partnership with Cal State University, Long Beach. Yesterday, I mentioned Principal for a Day and why that program has done so much for this district. I want to just come back to that for a minute. And in an article that I penned for the School News, this is what I wrote, that the list of business partners extend to individuals who volunteer as readers, playground monitors, and classroom aides, such as VIPs or volunteers in public schools, to businesses, individuals, and nonprofits. Also provide support to the district through personnel, funding, and in-kind contributions. Personnel often provide classroom support by adding technical expertise in science, engineering, robotics, and other cutting-edge subject areas. The partners that are cultivated also become public relations active advocates for the district, whose value cannot be underestimated. So again, there is a real underlying value in that program that brings so much to the district for so little in return. So I'd love to see that program come back online. That's my presentation. Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, I have 3 items I'd like to share tonight. First, I want to publicly thank you for your commitment to supporting our youngsters K-12 in our district with technology. As you all know, we have 85,000 Chromebooks in this district with 72,000 kids. So we're more than a 1-to-1. It's pretty cool. Some schools have one where the students can keep at home and one where they keep at school. And so I've literally received hundreds of letters and emails from kids and from parents. So I'd like to share with you a few of those. One from a parent was, she just wanted to say thank you because her son, who was at 3rd grade, wanted a Chromebook, and he was one of the proud recipients to get a Chromebook. So she just said thank you because she didn't know how she was going to be able to get the Chromebook. And for those who don't know, by the board's refresh program, which means we replace them after a certain period of time, in this case it was 4 years, the board approved the distribution of 24,000 Chromebooks to our students. And so in some cases, every kid in the school got one. In some cases, the students were selected on a variety of issues. For example, if you follow social media, you saw Wilson, it looked like a Black Friday shopping event. 850 students were in the quad lining up to get their Chromebooks. Another youngster sent this to me in beautiful cursive writing. We still have cursive. So, dear Mr. Steinhauser, thank you for being the greatest boss in the world. I'm so happy that I go to a school, that I get to go to school each day, and I know that there's a lot of my students, there are a lot of students in the world that don't. In fact, I got my own Chromebook. That made my schooling a lot easier. I want to thank you for making such a good decision. So this is, so that's really, really important. The next is yesterday, and I have tons of these, and I read these, and they're just the joy of, and that's why we come to school each and every day. The next time, Blake's going to show a video, and we heard about this yesterday with the Long Beach Preparatory Program. So I want to show this video because this was put together this year as one of our recruitment tools for our program. So Blake, you can go ahead. It's a tearjerker. But I want to thank the board because, as Dr. Edie said, This is funded out of the LCAP. This is an LCFF funding formula. And I want to publicly thank Dr. Kim Johnson and Robert Tagorda. This program's been going on for many years and is being replicated in other school systems. And this program targets kids in poverty, and as you heard, in some cases, families where kids have, suddenly their parents have died and huge tragedies. But you look at the support that they're getting for free. It's a 2-year program, as you heard yesterday, and so we don't have to do these types of programs, but we do them because they're the right thing to do. And this, as Dr. Benitez and others have said, this is why we spend our money to improve our life of our students. And so this is to support Naomi and her peers, and so that they can go wherever they want to go, just like that young lady who said she's going to Pennsylvania. And it's not only a game changer for her, but it's a game changer for her siblings, and in some cases for the entire community, where they live. So this is the next one I'm going to say is very difficult. And I probably won't get through it, but that's okay. So yesterday we had a great board workshop. And so it was just another great example of what this district stands for. We had great items from the business department to the instruction department, governance questions. And unfortunately, we did have to postpone one presentation. And that's my fault because I overbooked the presentation. But as board member Craig had said, there was so much good, and we expect so much more. And so I just want to thank everyone for that. And today I shared that I'm going to be retiring at the end of the year. So it's not because I don't like my job. It's the complete opposite. But I do want to publicly thank this board and the board that hired me 18 years ago. And to Naomi, I want to share this with you. I was 43 when I became superintendent. That's pretty young. And that board took a huge risk on me and gave me an opportunity that was a gift. So never, ever be afraid. Don't let your fears take over. Those who know me know that I'm an introvert and I'm not a big risk taker. I demand a lot. But I'm so thankful to those 5 individuals because they pushed me way out of my comfort zone. So when you get a little fearful in your next chapter of your life, hit it head on. And if you fall down, that's good because that's how we learn, And I'm so thankful for those 5 and thankful for these 5 and for everyone in between because this board here is the gold standard of what is called governance. People up and down the state are in awe of what they do each and every day, and I've just given them a huge responsibility. Because their number one responsibility is picking the superintendent for the school district. So I did tell them I will be leaving at the end of this year, and I will still be as mean and ornery as ever. And I will help with the transition. But I do want to say a couple thank yous, and I apologize to Letitia, because I'm probably going to mess up her timing for her guests. This will be the first and only time we speak of this topic. There will be no celebrations of any kind. There will be no board resolutions. People know I'm a stubborn German. I won't show up. I have 74 vacation days, probably 80 or 90 by the time the school year is over. I have 310 sick days. As you can tell, I have a cold. It may just be a long cold. So having said that, I do publicly want to thank my wife. And I did tell her that I would tell her on the day that I retired, so I told her at 5:30 this morning. So she was rather shocked. But I couldn't do my job without her support and my family. I have 2 great kids, and I want to thank them. I want to thank all the teachers, the staff, the administrators, the counselors. We ask a lot of you. Brian and Kim Weber and I were at Garfield today for a quarterly meeting, and I wish we could have filmed that meeting, to be really honest with you. They were talking about data. They were transparent about data. The average tenure of that ILT group was about 20 years in our district, committed to continuous improvement. You don't see that everywhere. And I'm just so thankful because we push a lot, but we support a lot. I want to thank our labor partners, TALB, CSEA, Album. You've always kept the door open And I truly appreciate that. We may not agree on everything, but we agree on 95%. And the most important thing that we agree on is that we're going to do what's best for our kids. And so, and to our community partners, my God, we have the Long Beach College Promise, which is just the epitome of everything. We have an unbelievable mayor and city council that supports us. We appreciate each other. We support one another, our business partners. And I'm going to stop there because I'm going to forget somebody. But to all the kids out there, you're probably not watching this, but if you ever do watch this, I just want to tell you, don't ever stop dreaming what you want to do in life, because it's going to take you down a different path, and you're going to reach things. If you ever told me as a kid that I'd be sitting here, I'd say you've lost your mind. But because of a great education and because of great teachers, one of them right here, Mr. Meyer, who it's all about respect and it's about relationships. I've been afforded opportunities that I never thought were possible from my background. I've been into the White House twice. I've been a speaker at the White House, met the president, met the Prime Minister of Australia, met senators, met governors, been invited to meetings, met billionaires. Most of them are pretty nice. But that's a game changer, and I just share that with you because it was all possible because of a great education and mentors. So thank you, everybody, for what you do. I'm going to be leaving now, and I will be seeing people. I will be back. I'm not leaving forever right now, but it's just really important. I shared with the board earlier that this is probably the second toughest decision I've had to make in my life as a professional, but I know it's the right thing to do, and I'm your #1 supporter, so thank you.
We are now at announcements. I do want to wish our faculty and staff a happy holiday season and a safe and productive holiday season. This is a tough time for all of us, but have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
We are adjourned.